Hello, everybody. Welcome to Real Producers. I cannot wait to share with you a guest that we have today who is a top 1% agent in the DFW Metroplex, Christy Becca. So thank you, Christy, for joining us today. And I can't wait for you to hear her story and some of the wisdom that she's going to share with us today. She is a whole lot of things all in one. So Christy, thank you so much for coming on and talking with me today and sharing with the audience that's out there. So I want you first to introduce, I know who you are, but not everybody out there knows who you are. And you are so inspiring and you're so encouraging and you're inspiring to me. And I know to many others with all the things that you have done in your life. And so we're going to get into the meat of that. You haven't always been in real estate, but you've had quite the journey as an entrepreneur and a woman being in the business world. And so I'm super proud of you and your growth has been amazing. So anyway, thank you. But I do want you to introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you, Julie, for having me. I love to be here. Thank you so much. For that wonderful introduction. You can do that every day. That just makes me feel so good. That's amazing. No, I appreciate that. Thank you. And yes, my name is Christy Becca, and I run a real estate team here, the Christy Becca Realty Group, and I also run a nonprofit called Flower Mound Women in Business. So I do stay pretty busy. I'm also a single mom to two amazing children, Brooke and Ashton. Hopefully, they never watch my stuff that I do, so I don't even know why I'm giving them a shout out. No, I do love them dearly. So one day when they watch, hello, how are you? And so I stay really, really busy, but that's always been my nature. I love being busy and, doing all the things.
You do a lot of things. So, okay. So your journey into real estate.
Yes.
I guess let's start there because I know that you did many things before that, and I do want to get to those things, but I want to know about the moment when you said, this is it. I am going to do real estate, and you went for it. And my goodness, look what happened. Now you're in the top 1% to 2% in the entire DFW Metroplex, and very successful as that at that. And not only so, you just mentioned you're also running a nonprofit and being a mother. These are a lot of things to juggle. And so in the last episode that we did with Real Producers, we were just talking about work-life balance. And so we're going to table that discussion in just a minute.
Is that a thing?
That might not even exist in your world.
That doesn't exist in my world. I'm like, what is that? Someone please tell me what that is.
But I do want you to talk to the audience and myself about the moment that you decided to jump into real estate. What made you make that pivot?
Now I can laugh about it now and, now that I'm out on the other side, but it was a decision that I kind of fell into about back in 2012. I went through a not so great divorce, and I loved being a stay-at-home mom and doing my things and doing all the things with the kids and whatnot, but then found myself in a tough situation and found myself divorced and found myself in a situation to where I didn't have very many options, and I was faced with homelessness, and it was really tough coming out of the divorce and having single mom of two kids and having to find a career and get back on my feet and work and find who Christy 2.0 was going to be. And I had to move in with my parents because I was basically from the divorce, and we had no money and we were broke and homeless, for lack of a better word. And had to move in with my parents and start my life, like I said, completely over. And so from that, I had to do a lot of soul searching and figuring out what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. And I actually came from a background in real estate. So my dad was a big broker in Oklahoma. And so I grew up in the real estate space. And it's funny now because I vowed I would never be a realtor. Actually, I was like, I hate realtors. I don't want to be a realtor. I now take that back. I love what I do. And, there's a wonderful and a lot of great realtors and real estate agents out there. But I moved in with my parents and decided, okay, I'm going to start over and get my real estate license and, start real estate. And, I got licensed and just hit the ground running. And I knew at that point failure was not an option. And, luckily, by the grace of God and by my parents, I was able to have a built-in babysitting, built-in babysitters. And I was able to, commit everything I had to real estate. And so I was doing it, 14 hours a day. and from sun up to sundown and talk to anyone and everyone who would listen to me about real estate. And that's how I started my career. Mm-hmm. I was living with my parents and lived there for a couple of years until I could get on my feet and so I could buy a house of my own.
I was just going to ask you, how long did it take you to like say, okay, I've made it, I'm doing it, it's happening?
It's about 2.5, 3 years. I was on a mission. I was like, okay, failure is not an option, and my kids are watching me, and so I have to. It was definitely the perseverance. I mean, you can get knocked down in life, right? But it's a choice to either stay down or get up and go. And because I had 2 kids that needed me and depended on me.
How old are your kids now?
Oh my gosh, now they're 21 and 17.
Okay.
And
have you ever had a moment where your kids have said to you, "I'm proud of you"?
Oh, completely.
Yes.
And it made it all worth it. And a couple of times actually. And my son, he's now a senior at Baylor. And, he was it last year or the year before? As a matter of fact, I printed it off because I was like, I'm going to save this forever. But he did. He sent me a very sweet text and was just, I'm so proud of you. Now I get it. How hard you worked and all the things. I'm like, oh, I'm like, oh my gosh, it makes it all worth it. And my daughter, she does that quite often. So it fuels me to be the best version of myself I can. For them. But
I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but they're watching you be an entrepreneur.
Oh, 1,000%.
You've always been an entrepreneur.
Yes.
And I've always had that entrepreneurial spirit as well. And so for many years, I homeschooled my children.
God love you.
Right? Me too. Hello. I say that
mother of the year.
That's what I say about myself because it was not easy. But one of the things I did make them do was watch Shark Tank.
Yes.
As an assignment.
Yes.
Because
I did that with my kids too.
See different leadership skills and different things in them. But one of the things I said to them is you can never work or depend on working for other people in your life. You have to be able to self-sustain.
Absolutely.
And have some kind of side hustle for yourself where if all things fall apart, there's some kind of way that you can make income. So I was trying to push them in the direction that I pushed my own self as a teenager, which was by the time I was 15 years old, I was teaching other people how to play the piano.
Oh my gosh.
And wound up going to a high school for the performing arts to play the piano. So I was thinking, in the box, this is the way I did it. This is what you're going to do. Look, you're going to play guitar because you're good at it. And now you're going to know how to teach people. And then you're going to play the drums because I've always wanted to play the drums. So you're going to play the drums. And it didn't work, really. I bought him the zildjian cymbals and all things trying to entice him. And it worked for
That's brave as a mom wanting to buy your kids a drum set.
No, because I wanted to play.
Right.
So I wanted you to teach me, but anyway, my plan didn't work. But they are entrepreneurs now. They're 21 and 23 and doing the entrepreneurial thing. So I say all that to say they are watching you
100%.
and they're watching you grow. So can you, obviously, okay, I get it. Getting into real estate was birthed out of desperation and need and a huge challenge in your life. But prior to that, you were still an entrepreneur.
I was.
And you started another business. And I want to hear just a little bit about that and what in the world made you start Becca Bags. So tell everybody what Becca Bags is all about.
Oh my gosh. So I've been a serial entrepreneur since I can remember. And, I think anyone who's an entrepreneur and wants to go into business for themselves, you always have that fire inside of you that, if you can't find something that you really, really want, what do entrepreneur people do? We create it, right? So it's like, okay, I can't find this need in the market, so I'm going to create it. So Becca Bags was a couture diaper bag company that I started when my son was 6 months old. So my background actually went to OU and went to the Price School of Business. So I had a business background, have double degrees in business and finance and whatnot. And so I put that, I honestly, I don't know what I was thinking when I decided to start that company because I had a brand new baby. And I was always, I had always been working. That's just who I am. And when he was 6 months old, even though I loved being home with him, and I just knew that I was like, okay, I wasn't finding anything in the market. And then I really, I lost that sense of style and stylish things. When I became a first-time mom and I was like, okay, there's got to be, now this is way back in the day. I mean, this was like 21 years ago. When they still had like the Winnie the Pooh diaper bags. And so, it's nowhere near what it is today. But, I was on the cusp of that. And so I, started a bag company and started, I outsourced, I don't sew. So I outsourced my, all my bag making and whatnot to a local tailor and whatnot. And so they did prototypes, and then I started making them for my friends. And then the next thing you know, my friends were like, you need to take these, into stores and start selling them. You have something here. And I was like, okay, let's do this. And so I created a diaper bag line. And the next thing you know, we're in Fred Siegel and Bergdorf Goodman and Neiman's, and, across over 300 stores across, the United States, actually in the world. We were international. And it was crazy. We were one of the bags for the Oscars.
Wow.
We were picked to be one of the bags for the Oscars.
Who knew? And like, it's a mom making a
exactly.
diaper bag.
It's really that rags to riches story, and had several celebrity clientele, and
I love that.
It grew into a big monster and a big thing, and we actually wound up selling it a couple years later, and then came back a single mom. I mean, not back to single mom, back to being a mom and a stay-at-home mom. And then I had my daughter, and was enjoying, being a mom again. And so, but it was a great ride.
The fun thing was, for me, the fun connection when I was interviewing you, and at the time, you obviously hadn't been featured yet, but that's what the whole interview was about. And I found out you were the inventor, starter of Becca bags. And I was like, I have a Becca bag. So
that is
I was
so funny.
raising my kids too, with their little bottles in there and a place for the little pacifier and the diapers and all the things. So obviously you have a very determined spirit, a very resilient spirit.
Thank you.
You have a lot of courage, and that is so admirable.
Thank you.
I do want you just to share with me, like, what was, and maybe you've already answered this, but with me, like, what was, and maybe you've already answered this, but maybe there's a different answer. I don't know. Like, your toughest moment being an entrepreneur, where you knew you were going to have to put your big girl pants on, and you were going to have to make a pivot, or just like your toughest moment being an entrepreneur, where you knew you were going to have to put your big girl pants on, and you were going to have to make a pivot, or just really dig deep down inside for that inner strength that you didn't know that you had, and change.
I think that's every day in real estate now. Can we be honest? Like, post
strength that you didn't know that you had, and change.
I think that's every day in real estate now. Can we be honest? Like, post NAR, does anyone else feel me out there? You know what I'm talking about. Every day we have to dig deep. It's rough out there right now.
Yes.
Going back to probably, I would say, getting when I got my real estate license, and when I was really pounding the pavement, and it wasn't happening as quick as what I thought it was. I, thought, as we all do, oh, it's easy money and it's great and it's flexible and you can be home with your kids at 5. No, you can't.
No,
that does not exist.
Maybe 5, but not 5.
Exactly. And then you have to go back out again for evening showings. So all the things. It was, I remember, there were months where I wasn't making anything, and I wasn't doing I was like, I was going to throw in the towel, and I was going to quit, because I was like, I can't do this. I was going to throw in the towel, and I was going to quit, because I was like, I can't do this. It's a lot harder than what people, it's not selling Sunset. It's not HGTV.
That's right.
I mean, you have to work. Yeah. You've got to work. There is no shortcut. There is no, there's no net to catch you when you fall. You have to hustle and grind every day. And that is one thing that I know I was good at. And I was like, if I could get through what I went through my divorce and being a single mom with 2 kids, I'm like, I can do real estate. Like, I can do this. I can make this happen. And so there was a time, in the beginning that I wanted to quit. And I was like, I can't do this, and then I got my first sale. And then I was just like, and then not only that, but the camaraderie that you feel with your clients, and the appreciation, that they give you, and, the service that you just help them with, it's more than just a house, to me. It's just more than selling, and more than helping someone buy. It's, helping that single mom, get, find her house. And now they have to move into something bigger, and it's a joyous thing, and
so for all the
those
realtors
things
that might be listening out there, that are not where you are. They're not in the top 1% to 2% yet, but they aspire to be. And of course, yes, there's a lot of challenging things that are going on with the real estate industry, but there pretty much always is.
Yeah.
It just looks different, right? Whether that's an economy that's crashing or there's too many buyers, and then, then there's not enough inventory. There's always something every single year that seems to be challenging. But for those people who are aspiring to be what you are in terms of your success and your journey in real estate, what's the greatest piece of advice that you could give them?
Oh my gosh. Don't quit.
Yeah.
Don't quit in the room. You just have to be the one that's willing to show up and the one not to quit and the one to keep going and keep going and keep going and keep doing the open houses and keep meeting people and keep talking about real estate and keep showing up. Because this is, at the end of the day, it does turn into a numbers game, and it's the amount of people, that you talk to or that you can talk to, about real estate. And, it's that person you may not get that sell right now. It's about the paycheck. If you do right by the client every single time, you'll have repeat business. You'll have people calling you back. Like my referral base, we're 100% referrals. Like we don't pay for leads. We don't pay for any of that stuff. We are 100%.
It's not easy. And
that's right.
It doesn't matter whether you're making Becca bags, you're selling houses or,
or anything,
candles, or I don't know, whatever somebody might be doing that's listening today in our audience. But the key, and it was this man who is from Nepal. He had been in America for 2 years and was already in the top 500, moved over here driving Uber and doing Uber Eats in the middle of the night, sleeping an hour or two, getting up in the morning and starting a real estate career. And my question to him was, well, let me back up. The moment that I felt like, and I was listening to the story about just being here for 2 years and he's in the top 500 already. And I just put my head down and I thought, Julie, you can never, ever, ever have an excuse.
100%.
Not that I was living with excuses, but it was just a reminder. You can never have an excuse as to why you can't be successful. And I think at times things happen, or we could sit there with the victim mentality. And so I asked this young man, I said, how have you been successful? What would you attribute to your success to this point so far? Because it's just been 2 years. And he said to me, his response to me was, I talk to everybody.
Yes.
Everybody. He said, there's somebody at the gas station. I talked to him at the gas station.
Here's my card.
There's somebody over here. I talked to somebody over there. Now, I don't know that I would walk up to everybody and say, did you know that I'm a camera?
And I was in pajamas and everything. I'm like, I went as is. And anyway, so went to the hospital and, and in the ER and they gave me something and I was fine. And I just stayed there for a couple hours and it was all right. And I got all the medicine and everything. Take my card. I was, I'll be fine and give me a couple days, And he did. He called me actually.
Oh my goodness.
And I got a sale out of it. It was crazy, but I'm willing. I mean, in the ER on my deathbed, here, take my card.
I love that.
while you're in it. But I mean, that's what it takes.
Right.
It takes, it takes.
I love that.
But you wake up and I mean, literally I had, 3 deals, blow up this past week. So, I mean, that's the nature of entrepreneurship and that's the life of, running a business. And then, we executed 2 today. So it's just kind of, you have none. And then all of a sudden, how can I pay this forward? I was like, God, if you help get me out of this situation, I will forever pay it forward. And, it was heavy on my heart and I started the Flower Mound Women in Business Group because I didn't want any other woman that had, had to go through what I went through and kind of feel devastated and know where we help women coming out of, we empower women and we can group and it's just flourishing. And and so we help women coming. What we do from that is we give grants to women coming out of hardship situations who, their goal is to strive to be financially independent.
Can you share a story with us about somebody in particular?
Yes. And, it's my passion and it's my job, I feel. And, it's my passion and it's my job, I feel. I think with much is given, much is required, right? And I feel that, God bless me with this.
Right.
We've got you.
With 8,000 women, there's connection somewhere.
1,000%.
Yes.
I was like, we've got you. Don't worry about it. And I told her what she needed to do. And so she's working on those steps today. But it's absolutely. So yeah. So if anyone's interested in learning more about what we do for our nonprofit, you can go to www.fmw.
Take it out, but that didn't work. But I did say it all the time. See a need, fill a need.
Yes.
And it's in what you were going to do initially, but look at what's happened in 10 years, how much it's grown, what birthed out of that, how many people's lives that you've affected. The long bath and the quiet time, the prayer, the Bible reading for me, other people, it might be exercise. I'm not quite awake enough yet, but
not there yet.
Talk about a little bit about self-care and how you balance that.
Yes. First of all, what is it? What is self-care? Act and have me time and, reading the Bible or, taking a walk or, just kind of sitting outside by my pool or just having my coffee.